Hey, horror fans! Thanks for joining me for this review of Boar. Not bored, Boar. We'll get to that in a minute. Um, Cast and crew information down below, and as always, the IMDb plot here. In the harsh yet beautiful Australian outback lives a beast, an animal of staggering size, with a ruthless, driving need for blood and destruction. It cares for none, defends its territory with brutal force, and kills with a raw, animalistic savagery unlike any have seen before. Dun dun dun. Throw in all the kind of adjectives and fun there to get that description across. Um, so this is a 2017 movie, and another one that I've missed along the way. I believe this one was shown at some festivals, and I so wanted to see it. I like these kind of animal movies, um, especially ones that are not on sci-fi. No offense to sci-fi, like sci-fi, but sometimes that ends up being a lot of CGI, and that kind of takes it away. Not to say there's not been anything good. There's been some good stuff there, um, but this one here is Boar, as in the boar, like the pig. Just making sure. Some people don't know their animals out here, um, and obviously a regular sized boar is not going to cut it. So for this movie, they got a nice, giant, big-sized boar here, wreaking havoc and all that description that I just read. Um, let's see. Let me start with who's in this movie. Um, Two really of my favorites out here, and one is Bill Moseley, and another is John Jarratt. Um, Obviously, we all know Bill Moseley from many a thing, and I like him when he kind of plays the bad guy. But so in this movie, he's not really the bad guy. He is the family man here. He is a father of this family that ends up going the outback, kind of on a vacation here, and so a little bit different role for him. I definitely like him when he's a bad character here. And I think the last several things I saw where he's been a bad character, especially thinking to like the Devil's Rejects and so forth. So it's kind of awkward seeing him kind of play Mr. Nice Guy here. He really is Mr. Nice Guy here. There's even a point where he has an opportunity to kind of be mean, and he's just not. So that was a little weird. And then John Jarratt, who plays one of my favorite characters, and that is Mick in Wolf Creek. I did written reviews for those Wolf Creek a while back. I think that if you've heard me talk at any time about it, I absolutely love that movie. Love him as a character. Love what he does. Just great stuff there. And this is 2017, so I'm kind of debating here as I start talking about this whether to give spoilers or not. I don't think everybody's seen this movie. But it is 2017, so everybody's had the opportunity. So really unsure. So this is take it at your own risk here going forward. I may or may not give stuff away. I don't know. We'll just see how I roll here. But again, this is an animal movie, and it is what it is. Obviously, it's going to terrorize people. It's going to kill people. And eventually somebody's going to survive, and somebody's going to have to kill this thing. So I don't know what I'm spoiling or not spoiling. Um, anyway, so you have a family here. Bill Moseley, a young daughter who's brought her boyfriend. But they're of age. Probably in their late teens, early 20s. Brought her boyfriend along, another young son, and his wife there. This is not his first marriage. He's been married a couple of times. They're again in Australia. They've been there before. John Jarratt's character, he obviously lives there. He's Australian. That's what we love about him in Wolf Creek, obviously. And he almost plays very similar to his role in Wolf Creek, Mick. As far as the way he talks and the language he uses and just being, saying all kinds of crazy stuff. I unfortunately don't have any Australian friends, so, I've seen, you obviously hear the accent, but do people really talk like he talks? I don't know. He uses just weird phrases, and obviously he's not afraid to curse. In Wolf Creek, and he does the same here. For a second there, I was just thrown right into Wolf Creek. I'm like, holy crap, here we go. But he's not. He's not the bad guy in this movie. And to the film's credit, he is not like the hunter guy. Also when I saw him, I'm thinking, oh, well, he's going to be the hunter that eventually goes and I'm going to track this thing and kill it. He's not that either. He's just a local guy doing his thing here. And he kind of unfortunately gets tied up into this because him and a buddy get drunk at night. They go off somewhere on the outback and get drunk and are there having a good time. And they hear some noises. And he decides he wants to go investigate, but he's too drunk, so they can't get in the car to go, so they decide to walk. And long and behold, they come upon a campfire where we previously got to see, just before they get down there, the boar basically tears some people apart. And, him and his friend are freaked out, and, we gotta, how quick the drunkenness goes away when you get in a scary situation. He starts to sober up a bit, tells his friend that he needs to go back, and his friend is not a young character here. He's not just going to sprint over and go back and get the stuff. He's going to take his time. Tells his friend, go back, get the car, bring it around. They kind of figure that there's at least two other people or at least one other person out in the woods somewhere and maybe alive. So he's going to go look for them while the other one gets the car. Obviously, the one who gets the car, yeah, he's not going to make it. And then John Jarratt, soon enough, also ends up face to face with the Boar here. So he is part of the story, but he ends up not being the main story. His daughter owns a restaurant / bar in town, and she tries to reach her father. He can't. So she will eventually end up going and looking for him. But before we get to that, we get to the family. But going back to the family here ends up at the wife's brother's house, who is played by Nathan Jones, who is a wrestler. He's been in a couple of other movies. I'm not totally familiar with him, but he is definitely a massive human being here, a big, strong guy. So obviously then you're thinking, oh, okay, so you got this massive boar. This guy, he's going to take on this boar at some time. So all you're doing is thinking, bring it on. Let's see it. Here's somebody who can go toe to toe. Let's see what happens here. So they do the thing. We get to know the family intertwining there, and so forth. The dynamics there, blah blah blah. We get through all that BS. the brother the next day says, let's go out in the outback. Let's go over here and go swimming in this lake or whatever. But they make a stop off at this bar / restaurant, and of course the daughter tells him, while you're out there, can you go check to see if you find my father out there? And he's like, of course, he's a good guy. Okay, I'll do it. It's a small community out there. So, they go on their trip. They're there. They're swimming, having fun, blah, blah. And then he says, hey, you guys sit here, have fun. I'm going to go over here and check on this guy to see if I can find him. Really funny scene. He gets in the truck. You see, again, this is a really huge guy in this old truck. And lo and behold, he is playing Vanilla Ice, Ice, Ice Baby, singing lyric for lyric. It's really funny and really surprising that they just throw that into this movie here at this point. And kind of throws you off so much that you don't see it, and bam, here goes the Boar. Boar just takes out his car, and then kind of sets up the wild chain of events here, where he disappears for a while. Then people go looking for him. Then other people disappear, and then we kind of get this chain of effects where the Boar is starting to take out family members of this party one by one, and chasing them down. It's kind of odd. I know a Boar, I guess, is protecting his territory. I know boars will attack people. But in this case, this one is not only attacking, but apparently trying to eat people too. But I guess, when you're an oversized boar, I guess that's what you do. Because why not? I guess you need a lot of food. So go for it. So here, you have family members starting to disappear and die. And then we finally get to the good part, where the big guy here goes toe to toe with the Boar and puts on a pretty good battle here, and he shows no fear, and definitely takes one for the team, takes one for his family, by trying to hold off this Boar the best he can. He suffers some major blows, and but it's a very interesting and fun battle. And then, like I said, we wind it down to a couple of survivors here, and X, Y, and Z happens, and Boar dies. That's just the way it rolls with these kind of movies. The creatures barely ever win, or if that, maybe they have offspring at the end, or something like that. But they for the most part always end up dead, and so I don't think I'm spoiling it. But the Boar is eventually dead, or at least presumed dead, enough for survivor X, Y, and Z to walk away. So told you a lot, but I'm trying to save some stuff there. I guess basically so far I've told you, Bill Moseley's in it, and John Jarratt, and how much I love him. They do a good job, but I'll maybe, they're not the biggest part of the movie. The biggest part of the movie is definitely Nathan Jones going head to head with his Boar and squaring off with it. Obviously, the Boar is a main character here, so let's talk about the Boar real quickly. And at first they don't show you much, and I was a little concerned, the first couple of times, because it's a lot of, and it's what you expect, they're not supposed to show the Boar right off the bat here. You get to hear a lot of noises and a lot of things like that, a lot of assumptions that he's doing the killing and so forth. And then they slowly show you more and more of him as they go. Obviously, they use darkness to their favor, and it is awkward in some points. It is not perfect. Obviously, I didn't read up on this, so I don't know officially, what they did and didn't do. It appears that maybe they threw in some CGI blood here on top, and maybe try to top off some things with a little bit of CGI. I could have been wrong. I could have been mistaken. Maybe my eyes deceive me. I try to be careful when I mention stuff like this, because if I don't read and read about it and know for sure, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus or make any assumptions. Sometimes things are fairly obvious, because it was dark and so forth. I don't think it was as obvious, but again, maybe I missed it. There's always room for error here. So I think maybe they topped it off with some effects there from that, but the board seemed very, very practical effects wise, especially in the face and the mouth, and how it attacked people, and you can kind of see the camera angles where they kind of just cut off kind of the face. So my assumption is they have a head puppet that they were using. It's very possible that they could have thrown in some effects over the top of that to maybe cover up some things. It wasn't perfect, I don't think. It was a little bit awkward, maybe not totally natural to what maybe Boar naturally. Neither am I a Boar expert. I'm not a special effects expert or a Boar expert here. But it may not have seemed totally natural there, but I do kind of credit them for going that close, for doing practical effects, because it's very easy these days just to do the CGI thing, but for getting so close and going, really getting into the action here, it is definitely hard when you have doing effects and when you have a creature eating and chewing on somebody, and trying to make it as natural as can be, because the natural movement of I'm assuming the puppet or whatever is just up and down and with the jaw and so forth. You don't really get all of the complete naturalness of chewing and so forth. But I do credit them that. There are some scenes where they pull away and you get to see the whole boar out in front of you, and those are typically a little bit of a distance, so those I was not completely sure if that was CGI or not. It was a little bit of a distance and so forth, so that I don't know. So maybe it was a mix or not. Maybe I should have read before I did this, but I wanted to just jump into this, and I try to do these reviews naturally and not go do a whole history report on these movies. And I know some people do, and that's great. That's just not how I do it. I take for what I see, and I think everybody does their reviews a different way, and that's how I do it. And I do my reviews a different way when I write them as well. And they're different from a lot of people's things. I don't do great research on things. I talk about what I see, and so they do, to their credit, they show the boar at a distance. They show the boar eating. Overall, I think they did a pretty good job. Not perfect. But I credit them for not just throwing a bunch of CGI at us, which you can often see, and like I said at the top, often see on sci-fi. There definitely was some effort here to bring us some real stuff, and again, if you like these kind of movies, and animal, coming and taking out people and so forth. They do make it painful. They do make it bloody. You do get to see some of the people get injured, and you can feel their pain, and so forth. So I enjoyed all that, and I enjoyed obviously seeing Mick. He's always going to be Mick to me. John Jarratt is just Mick. Doesn't matter what he does. He can come and try to play, some romantic movie and whatever, and I'm just going to see him as Mick. And as long as he's that, he's so awesome. Let me get off that. And of course, Bill Moseley, but obviously in a different role. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna give this 3 pools of blood. I liked what they did with the boar, and the boar is an interesting creature. Not maybe not one that you would think. Sharks or you think are more deadly, or always seem to be a bigger draw to audiences. So again, I don't know, what the story with boars is out in the Australian outback, but apparently they can do some damage out there. Obviously not as big as this one, but yeah, I give them credit for what they did here. I think it was fun enough. Definitely got some deaths, definitely got some blood, definitely got some guts in there, and definitely brought on a big dude to give a good fight with the boar here. So it was good enough for me. 3 pools of blood. Yeah. Subscribe to the channel for more video reviews. horrorscorereviews.blogspot.com for written reviews, and obviously more video reviews if you can't find them here. And social media down below. Feel free to hit me up there. Talk about this movie, other movies. Such a movie you want me to review, take a look at. Let me know if I can do it. I'll do it. Tons of reviews to do. Always keeping busy here. So yeah, that'll be it for Boar, and we'll jump on to the next review.